Welcome to join with your comments and whatever you have on this matter, on this fight, because this fight, if not won, would consume everybody in this country. Now, there is intense pressure on government now to impose a total ban on illegal mining in the country, as the University Teachers Association of Ghana, UTAG, threatens a nationwide strike by the end of this month if the demand is not met. And the demand is that government ban illegal mining in the country. Now, their chorus joins out of the Ghana Medical Association, the Nurse and Midwifery Association, the Ghana Bar Association, and others to push for a decisive action from government. The latest to speak against the menace is the Asantino Tumfosi II, himself worried about Galamsey in the Ashanti region, and of course how devastating it is having on river bodies.
Finally, I congratulate you, your president, for his courageous comments on Galamsey this morning. Galamsey is an environmental enemy for the nation. What could be more serious for any people than to have the entire water supply system at risk? I think as lawyers you should find space during this conference to set up a panel to undertake a quick tour of the communities where the scourge is most prevalent, to see the extent of the crisis we face and hopefully deliberate on how the law should respond. As I see it, if an individual poisons the water supply of a community, he'll be liable for severe consequences under the law. What does the law do when one pours mercury into the same water supply, knowing fully well it can kill? This issue now requires the collective effort of all sections of society. To do nothing is no longer an option. The Bar Association, the Medical Association, and the universities, in particular my university, should get together and carve a new path to deal with this emergency. Yesterday, whilst I was driving from Cape Coast, in fact, going to Cape Coast, I stopped over at the River Pra, and it was, I'm afraid I have to tell you that what I saw, the river, it was so embarrassing, and then if as a nation we live for this to happen to us, I don't know. We have to fight this. No matter what, we have to do that.
So the Asantini spoke last night at a dinner at the Malaysia Palace for members of the Ghana Bar Association. The Bar Association is holding a 3-day conference in the Ashanti regional capital, Kumasi. Among others, they will be electing new executives for the next 3 years. Now, there is a push for government to declare a state of emergency around river bodies. But how has the government response been? These are the institutions that can do something about the challenge we are facing as a country. And so these, what you are about to see on the screen now, are government agencies and department, ministries that have a responsibility to ensure that water, river bodies, and our environment, is kept in a state that can be described as safe. So we've got the Ghana Water Company already. They are complaining about the impact illegal mining is having on their operations, and they've warned if nothing is done about it in the few days ahead of us, they will not be able to do their work in terms of providing a potable water for the country. Already, they are doing just 40% of their capacity. That's the state of the Ghana Water Company. There's also the Ministry of Sanitation and Water Resources, there's Land Commission, there's Forestry Commission, there's the Environmental Protection Agency, there's Water Resources Commission, there's the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources. And as you may be aware, the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources has a direct response to this matter. And last week, when the minister spoke on Joy 99.7 FM, he was clear that he was going to set up a committee to look at the way forward. It's been days now. We do not know the position of the ministry in terms of dealing with this emerging challenge to our livelihood. The lands minister, however, is at the top of all that, and that's what I just spoke about, since opposition to the worsening pollution of water bodies in Ghana restarted 2 weeks ago. And we've put together some slides. And so the minister, when we spoke to her, says that, and this is a quote, we are going to have the review today, and I'm 100,000% certain that we are going to deploy. We are going to ramp up our enforcement measures. So these places you are talking about, we're going to have a clean up there. This was what the minister told us on the Super Morning Show. Now, it's been days now. Monday, we were told that the minister had summoned all regional ministers to Accra for an emergency meeting on this matter. Same Monday, we saw the minister at the Bar Association conference currently holding in the Ashanti regional capital, Kumasi. Meanwhile, organized groups, they've made it clear that government must do something about it. And tomorrow, the Trade Union Congress, together with other identifiable groups, will be holding a news conference to state their position on this matter. We've also been told that the Media Coalition Against Illegal might also be doing their own. So there's a call on government to do something, but we are not getting clearly what government intentions are as far as the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources is concerned. This afternoon, we want to spend some time to talk about illegal mining, because illegal mining, as you may be aware, pose an existential threat to our livelihood as a country. Already, our water bodies have been, polluted to the extent that, around the mining areas, it's difficult to, have wholesome water. Now, joining us via Zoom is the General Secretary of the Christian Council of Ghana, Reverend Cyril Fayosi. We'll also be speaking to the youth of the Presbyterian Church, YPG. They are also taking matters into their own hands. They are going red on Galamsey starting this Sunday, and have already started community engagement ahead of that. Edwin Osei Anhwem is the National Youth President, Presbyterian Church of Ghana. Will also be joining us as well, and also be speaking to a former CEO of the Minerals Commission, so Dr. Tony Obem. He understands this area very well. But before that, though, let's bring you a report on what the Christian community did 2 years ago when the issue of Galamsey intensified. My colleague Michael Ashale traveled with them to the eastern region, where they interceded on behalf of the country for something to be done about illegal mining.
Pinaman is a small community east of Asamankese in the eastern region. Like many communities, illegal mining is wreaking havoc, and Pinaman is not spared. Joyce Wawonyo lives far in the Pinaman forest. She's witnessed the terrible effects of illegal mining firsthand. The miners first offered to buy her out of the land. She refused, and now they are threatening her.
One day, the miners came and asked me to pack out. I refused, so they excavated the land around us. They made a circle around my house, destroying my farmland. I put all my energy into that farm. Now, my family and I don't even know what to do.
Joyce is now 43 years old with 5 children. She says her experience with illegal miners was scary.
The miners threatened me many times. They even told me that they had already bought the land from someone. I still didn't move. There are days I'll be cooking in my kitchen and they'll be digging just in front of me. I need help.
Joyce is not alone. In the Pinaman forest, many households are seen abandoned with the land all destroyed. Chief of the area, Osa Berima Owariasari Pinkro III, says activities of illegal mining are getting out of hand.
I am helpless. Galamsa wang ayo awang kataswa ubesu. Sebitua meminka. I will not be part of it. I will never be part of it. And see, you can't drink any water. You can't drink it. The streams and all this are all polluted. You can't.
Oh, my
Members of the Ghana Christian Council also visited the area to assess the level of devastation caused by illegal mining as they prepare to take a stand against activities of galamsey.
It is greed. Greed and selfishness is what is killing us. And this will appeal to the church, will appeal to the mosque, will appeal to everybody, politicians, and everyone. That look, let us be concerned.
Are we a serious nation? Do we have leadership? Do we have institutions? Do we have Christians in this area? I am really overwhelmed and I need to weep. It is better late than never.
So for me, I'm calling on our leaders to lead. Somebody will have to control these young men in the galamsey industry. Somebody will have to educate them, and they will stop. But where there are no leadership, then things go way.
For them, there's nothing prayer can't resolve.
That which is wrong. We are guilty of raping and destroying.
For Joy News, Michael Ashale.
Oh Lord, heal our nation. Your word says that if our people will harm.
So this is 2 years, this was actually 2 years ago when some religious leaders went to a galamsey site in the eastern region and prayed. You would assume that the prayer would have worked by now because we should be seeing some sanity in these areas. Now it's rather getting worse. And all that's happened because political leadership failed to do what they need to do. Now they failed to stop people from destroying our water bodies and forest reserves in the name of finding gold. So we are back again 2 years after that weather situation now at a critical stage. The dreaded reality of having to import water or drink the polluted water and die. But where is the church in Ghana? How about the Muslim leaders? We plan to hear from them anytime they avail themselves. First though, is it true that politics is to blame for the country's inability to end pollution of our water bodies through illegal mining? Our research desk has been looking into this. That slide very soon. But some religious leaders over the weekend dedicated, some significant time of their sermon last Sunday to, and then they spoke about illegal mining. Bishop Ajinasari, Kofi Odro, they all spoke about it. Take a listen.
Look at the way we have destroyed this nation with galamsey. Show me pictures. Show me pictures of galamsey. This is irresponsibility. This is irresponsibility. This is irresponsibility. You are here saying, God bless our homeland, Ghana. Do you think if I am a galamseyer, I will be standing here this morning? Me too, galamseyer. Do you think the people doing this nonsense have people who are in authority powering them? One pump action gun is 40,000 Ghana cedis. So who buys pump action guns and give to these people who are able to face the police and the soldiers? They can face them because they have been empowered by people in authority. They have eaten their cake and they are still looking for it. Wicked leaders will be judged. Now Ghana Medical Association is telling the Republic of Ghana that stop every act, whether it's galamsey or small scale mine, whatever, stop it immediately. Because now we are having children with 2 heads, children with only 3 fingers. If it comes more, 17 fingers. We are having birth deformations from the chemicals of this menace. And we have a president of this country. We have a cabinet of this country. We have a parliament of this country who looks on irresponsibly. Look at the way the church is quiet about this menace. This menace. Your members are going to be dying of kidney failures and leukemia and all kinds of cancers from this. This galamsey, show me pictures, please. This galamsey thing is not going to be a joke. I mean, when are we going to fix this? We have America. Now, do you see America doing this? Greedy people. Money over everybody's life. I met a woman at the pharmacy, the other day. Said, Prophet, pray for my daughter. I said, where is your daughter? She said, she's in the car. I went to the car. I saw a beautiful young girl, but very sick and weak. I said, how old is your daughter? The woman said, 16 years old. And I said, what is wrong with your daughter? Kidney failure, stage 5. Kidney failure, stage 5. We have all kinds of leaders here. So when your prophets, some of them wants to talk, God has revealed to me who will win this election. You are very irresponsible. We don't care about this election. We care about sensible people who wants to do sensible things.
You and I must shine light on the Galamsey menace. We must bring this issue to light, confront it with truth and justice. We must confront it. We can't pretend it is not happening. Recently, they took samples of water in bottles. They had the before and the now. And when you look at the samples of the water we have, very soon, we won't even have water to drink. Because the Galamsey, it's the mercury and the chemicals they use, they seep into the soil. They seep into the soil. And if we don't do something about it, very soon water that our parents could easily fetch and drink at the riverside will have to be importing it. Pure water. We will have to import pure water from overseas. Because if the water that will go into our, how do they call it, where they treat our water treatment plants, will be so saturated with chemicals. Because the chemicals to purify it will be so much that we can't even be able to drink. By the time you are drinking water that has been bottled in this country, you'll be killing yourself. May God give us the will, the political will, and the strength. And as citizens, may we be able to confront this thing. In fact, the consequences of Galamsey are so dire. The contamination of our water bodies is posing a significant risk to public health. Look at the water this village is drinking. And this used to be clear water. This used to be clean water. And they are drinking this water. The contamination of the water bodies poses significant risks to public health, as many communities depend on these sources for drinking water. And one of the videos I saw that broke my heart is that because of the Galamsey, our fishes are even dying. And if you talk about it, they say you are being political. I'm not being political. There's no politics in this. This is our nation. There's nowhere we can go. September 7th, Erastus of My Joy Online put something on video. And he showed many babies who are being born in the Galamsey areas with deformities. The babies are now coming out with extra limbs. Instead of coming with 2 hands, they are coming with 3 hands. Instead of coming with 2 legs, they are coming with 3 legs. Instead of coming with 5 fingers, they are coming with 7 and 8 fingers. That is what Galamsey is doing to us. Because of this, the land is mourning, and all who live in it waste away. There's no faithfulness. We are not faithful. When you speak like I'm speaking, immediately you are branded. Because somebody was not happy. But beloved, we can't all shut up. Tell somebody we can't all shut up.
Right, so I mean, the state of affairs is something that must concern everybody. And so let's try and understand what is going on and what we are failing to do, and the measure that we can adopt now to bring some sanity to the mining areas and the impact it is having on our river and water board. Dr. Tony Obem is a former Chief Executive Officer, Minerals Commission of Ghana, currently the General Secretary also of the Christian Council of Ghana. Reverend Cyril Fayos is also joining us. Edwin Osei Ahrian is the National Youth President, Presbyterian Church of Ghana. We'll also be speaking to Bismarck Norte with the Peasant Farmers Association. Let me start with Bismarck because they have just issued a statement, demanding certain things be done. Otherwise, we might face food crisis in the near future. So, Bismarck, good afternoon. You've just issued a statement, and you're asking for what everybody is asking for, a total ban of illegal mining. The reason being what exactly?
Thank you very much for having me. And you are right. We've observed the kind of destruction that has been going on with the galamsey that has happened all over the country. And whilst we are complaining about the environment and also complaining about the availability of water, I think one major area that we seem to lose sight of is the effect of these activities on our food production. Now, when you go around the various communities where the galamsey is embedded, you find out that a lot of the lands that have been destroyed are actually farmlands. And I think that over the years, there's been a lot of concentration of farmlands that are for cocoa. But we are losing sight of the fact that food crops are also being hugely affected by galamsey. We've had a lot of reports from our members across some of these communities where the galamseyers either try to buy the lands from these farmers or they use some brute force or tactics to take over the land from them. And what we've witnessed is that consistently we are losing a lot of our farmlands to the menace of galamsey. On top of that is that aside the water bodies that we know are being polluted, we've also recorded instances where irrigation sites where farmers rely on water to water their crops, all these sites or the waters in the irrigation dams have been polluted and that they cannot be used for any meaningful cultivation. So you realize that our production is being affected greatly because one, we've lost a lot of farmlands. We already raised issues around the climate and how it's affecting drought. And also the fact that aside the production, we're also talking about the quality of the food that is being produced, the food crops. The soils are being contaminated. And so even the quality of the crops that are produced are being compromised. So the effect of it is that if you're not careful, then in the long run, the number or the productivity of farmers is going to be hugely affected. Farmers will not be able to produce enough food as we want for the country. And on top of that, even the few food that may be available may be food that may be contaminated or poisoned. So based on that effect, we feel that it is good for us to add our voices to everyone who is speaking about it. We feel that we don't want any ifs, there's no buts. There should be a complete cessation and ban on galamsey. And we should ensure that our lands are being restored and where we can also have a consensus of the country as to what we want to do with small-scale mining before we can continue. Because if we don't do that and we still play the lip service we are doing, I'm afraid in the next few years, Ghana will have to rely on Ghana will have to be importing almost every food that we are producing locally. Because the menace of galamsey is so real and is so devastating.
That is supposed to be your introductory remarks. Bismarck, I come to you to ask about how many farmlands have been lost, whether your members are facing real threats of losing their farmlands because of force or whatever means that has been employed by the illegal miners. But let me also bring in Dr. Tony Obem. I also have on Zoom the General Secretary of the Christian Council of Ghana, Reverend Cyril Fayos, and Edwin Osei. So, gentlemen, good afternoon and welcome.
Good afternoon.
All right.
Good afternoon.
Right. So let me start with Dr. Tony Obem. Dr. Tony Obem, this is your area. I mean, you've heard, you once headed the Minerals Commission. Question I have for you this afternoon, though, is exactly what are we doing wrong that we are finding it so difficult to correct it?
We are doing everything wrong, I must say. We have not had leadership to address the challenges. We've gone beyond, I mean, the state in which we are with respect to the impact of illegal mining has gone beyond the small institutions which regulate them. They have gone beyond the Minerals Commission. They have gone beyond the EPA. There's a need for actual leadership. If you recall, during the period of COVID,
right,
it took the president to announce from the Flagstaff House or from a place that nobody should go out because of COVID, and everybody stayed put. And if you dare go out, you face the wrath of the law enforcement institution. This is what it takes. And when you say so, you do not also allow, like in the case of COVID, you do not allow your ministers or the people who work with you to go out, even though you have indicated a ban.
Right.
So where we are now is a requirement of leadership and the need for a collective approach, because as you recall, small-scale mining was only allowed from 1989. Before then, nobody was allowed to mine as in small scale. You must work with a big company.
Right.
However, people were mining at that time. People were mining. They were doing keshe or galamsey or things that were illegal. The police will be chasing them. The military will be chasing them. But when they left, they will come back. So government decided at that time to legalize it, have regulations around it, hoping that people would just follow the rules and work. Little did we know that equipment such as excavators, trommels, champagnes would be introduced. Because at a time when the government allowed small-scale mining to take place, regularized one to take place, government wanted to control it, wanted to manage it. And government knew that they were using just simple implements, shovels and pickups and all that. So the impact on our environment was not as severe. Impact on water, nobody complained about water issues. Nobody complained about even the land devastation that we see now. Now we have equipment that were not anticipated. Everybody is into it. And if what we hear and what we read is correct, you have leadership involvement, government functionaries actively involved in mining. How can you control your own people if they are in a situation like that? And if even they say that, look, we need money to support government, party or something like that. I mean, I'm saying this, but these are the truth. You need leadership to stop it. Nobody should say, oh, the other government was Galamsey there and all that. Galamsey started long ago.
So Doctor, if I can just come in so that I can also bring in Edwin. So when you talk about leadership failure, I mean, President Akufo-Addo in 2017 put his presidency on the line. Along the line, we've had Operation Horse, we've had Operation Vanguard. So clearly, government intention has been clear from day one. Is it a case that we as citizens themselves are to hold some of the blame in terms of the way we have desecrated the environment in our quest for gold?
No, I agree with you that citizens must also take some part of the blame. Citizens must do that. Greed is driving us. But people will do it if you don't stop them, because there's money involved. There is, let me just make a very funny analogy to those who do cocaine and all those drugs things. It is bad for human beings, but yet because there's money, greed will drive them. So it is up to you to amass whatever force that you have as a state or as a state leader to stop it. So I think we haven't done well in that area. And once the Minerals Commission cannot, because, in Western region alone, there are about 7,000 dotted operational areas. 7,000 areas where small-scale mining or galamsey is taking place. You may not have Minerals Commission going to this place. I think the people working in the Minerals Commission will be less than 1,000. So I think we need to have a frontal attack. We need to have a strong approach. Particularly, look, mining in water bodies is completely outlawed. The law doesn't allow for anybody at all to mine in water bodies. But when you see them, what do? We see them. We see pictures. 7 days ago, I sent someone to go and take some pictures, and they were doing it. They were doing it in our. So don't we see? Sometimes they do it closer to a police station. Don't we see them?
The doctor, there's another concern about we being in an election year. That's like probably there is some kind of laxity in terms of enforcing the rules and regulations governing mining or small-scale mining. But before you answer that question, Edwin Atrin is a national youth president of the Presby Church of Ghana. So, Edwin, you want to embark on something significant starting this Sunday. Tell us about it so that I'll bring in the General Secretary of the Christian Council.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon to you and good afternoon to your viewers. I hope I can be heard. Actually, what the Presbyterian Church Youth is doing is called the Ecological Campaign. And it is being organized by us, which is the Presbyterian Youth, and in collaboration with the office of the DSS at our head office, and also Arocha Ghana. And our campaign basically aims to raise awareness, engage stakeholders, and act against illegal mining activities. And the campaign also seeks to foster a sense of responsibility and mobilize collective actions to protect our environment. You made mention of this Sunday that we are starting something. Actually, we started yesterday. So as I speak with you, I'm in the Achim Wenchi Township. And yesterday we did an open-air film show or movie or documentary, of which is from Joy News. I would commend the news or management on that. Which and the movie or the show was the Poison for Gold. I think the part 1. That's what we showed to the people in the community. And today there was a float through the Achimwenchi Township, of which we all gathered at the background here. I'm still even here at the background, though the program has closed. And we engaged, God being so good, we had the assemblyman around and some assembly members. We also had the Osewo Township chief or the Achimwenchi chief also in attendance.
So basically, you are preaching to them to stop illegal mining.
Hello, come again, please.
Yes, I was asking. So basically, this exercise is to do what? To preach to them to stop illegal mining?
So as I said earlier, to create the awareness of the effects of illegal mining and also engage with the people that we think are stakeholders when it comes to the illegal mining in our country, in our communities.
I'll come back to you on that shortly, but let me bring in the General Secretary of the Christian Council of Ghana, Reverend Cyril Fayosi. Reverend, it's a pleasure to have you here on the pulse. So 2 years ago, some of your members interceded on behalf of the nation in the Eastern region when they visited a Galamsey site. 2 years on, we are back on this same subject. Now the situation is getting out of hand. Everybody's talking about it. The Asante Hene, the Bar Association, UTAG is threatening a nationwide strike at the end of the month if government does not, impose a total ban on illegal mining. Why are we appears to be doing back and forth on this matter when the solution appears to be so glaring in our faces?
Thank you very much, and thanks for the opportunity to speak to your listeners and viewers. I do not think that the solution is so glaring. It's a really complex, difficult issue, and we must maintain very cool heads and find solutions to the problems that we have with Galamsey. You are right. About 2 years ago, we went out. We visited the traditional leaders. We visited some illegal mining sites so that we see things for ourselves. And we were the joke of the day, that we went there to pray. But that wasn't the case. We also visited the Minerals Commission, the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, We also went as far as the presidency and presented a petition to the president. And the petition we presented at the time was that there should be a moratorium. In fact, we were asking for a total ban on small-scale mining. But if that is not possible, at least a moratorium so that we can come and sit around the table and have a discussion about the way forward, how to proceed without harming ourselves. We can still continue to do mining, but proceed without harming ourselves and destroying our water bodies and soils and environment. So this is what we did some time ago, and the problem is still there with us because, as I said, the problem is more complex than sometimes we paint it to be.
So from your own analysis, what really is the issue here that is making it so difficult for us to take a step on this matter?
Well, a number of things. One is the involvement of the ordinary person. One is the involvement, and when I say the ordinary person, their livelihoods are involved, so a lot of people really are beginning to depend to live on this illegal mining. There are also a lot of big people, politically exposed people, that are also behind some of these things. And unless they are prosecuted, they are named and shamed, I don't think we are going to make any headway. And the last one is that I think there should be a total ban, at least, if not a total ban, a moratorium for some time, so that we sit back and think about how to proceed. There are two ways to proceed. One is a total ban on small-scale mining, so that no one is allowed to small-scale mining. Just as we don't allow anyone to mine in water bodies. There was a recent law that was passed, mining in forest reserves.
Exactly, an airline that was passed to give legal right to mine in forest reserves.
That should also be repealed. But the other thing is, if we cannot do a total ban on small-scale mining, at least the small-scale mining companies must be community-owned. I think there is a proposal like that in public circles that can be looked at, so that we can mine, and the mining should be owned by the community and should be done responsibly.
I asked earlier, Dr. Tony Orbin, about can't we all accept the fact that government has done its part, and that we also as citizens must do ours to bring sanity to this matter? There's been so many committees set up to deal with this matter. Operations, Vanguard, Halt, Presidency on the line, and all manner of things have. The Attorney General this week told the Bar Association that over 850 people are before court for engaging in illegal mining. So clearly, we can operate from the point that government appears to be doing it. But do you say that it is simply not enough?
Well, yes, as I said, okay. The question was to
allow Reverend to come in first, and then I'll come back to you.
Okay, sure.
Yes, that was what I thought. I thought you made reference to him, and you wanted the question. Yes, I think it is not enough. Government's efforts had not really helped us up to this point. And the other big elephant in the room is that politically exposed persons have been fingered in this matter. And even though the Attorney General is claiming that they are prosecuting a lot of people, some of these very big shots, let me put it that way, have not been touched. And until something is done about that, I don't think this problem will go away.
Dr. Orbin, do you want to also come in on this issue?
I couldn't agree more with Reverend. You see, I gave an analogy of the COVID period. And when you are able to sanction or punish your own people, the so-called politically exposed people named to be involved in this small-scale mining or illegal mining, let me put it, you are going to get the fear of government in the people. Because if government is able to punish its own, people named to be belonging to maybe their party and all that, you are going to send a signal. We are not doing that. The fact that you are having committees and the water bodies are still the same, and people are doing the same thing, tells you that we are not having the political will to do it.
But Doctor, let me come, just a brief question so that we can proceed on the matter of the political will. Now, this, for example, this LI that was passed by Parliament allowing mining in forest reserves. I mean, the Fourth Estate last week published names of individuals that have gotten mining license to mine in forest reserve. They will tell you that they've gone through the legal way. Nothing stopped them from doing so. And for that reason, we cannot blame them for taking advantage of the existence of the law that grants them the right to do what they want to do legally.
You see, laws are passed to address existing problems or to prevent some problems coming. We know the value of our forests, and we know the kind of policies that existed prior to this LI 2462 being passed. We know that the need to protect our forest is so paramount, especially in view of what is happening in the world, the climate change, the challenges that we all see. So for you to even contemplate and draft a law that will allow people to mine in the forest without even going for forest entry permits. This is the irony of that law. I think you are using the same law to cause problems instead of using the law to prevent problems. I think that's the problem. And I agree with Reverend that that law must be repealed immediately. I don't think that law is helpful. I know with my past experience that there were some policies that were there about mining in forest reserve, production forest reserve. And the law was clear that, I mean, the policy wasn't a law, was that in the whole forest, only 2% to be ever mined. Only 2% should be ever mined. And that when you do exploration, before you do exploration, you have to go through a very rigorous process before you start it and all that. But now you pass a law. It's no more policy. You just pass a law or a regulation that says that you can do that without first going through forest entry permits. Once you have the permit from the minister, it's okay. Now, what this means is that, ministers, permit from a minister is also a permit from a political head. And you can just see what's going to happen. If I'm a minister from a party and I have the right to grant licenses to people to mine in the forest, who would I give the licenses to? No wonder the list that we saw, I'm yet to see, I think they should bring those who are in other parties. Otherwise, it might be seen to be partial.
One party.
From what we have seen, all of it are from one particular section of our political divide.
All right, just one. Let me bring in Bismarck from the Peasant Farmers Association. So, Bismarck, I mean, last week when I hosted the Ghana Water Company, the general manager in charge of public relations said that their members have been, they've recorded so many attacks on some of their workers, especially those who are manning their operational, facilities that they use to treat the water and then pump it to our various homes. I don't know whether your members are also facing similar situation.
Yeah, I have just sent a video to your producer, and I don't know whether he's communicating with you. He could play it. So just about 2 weeks ago, we actually visited some of our members in the Western region, around the Shama area, and they have an irrigation facility. They produce rice, and they rely on the water there to cultivate their rice. When you go there, the whole of the water has been heavily polluted, that the farmers cannot use the water to water their crops. If you go, the water is so turbid, and you could tell that even the rice fields need water, but there's no way they can rely on that water. And our information is that this is not only happening in the Western, in that particular district. There are several districts in Western region. Even if you go to areas around the Elembele, Jomoro, Dankubra, and the rest, all these are water bodies that farmers rely on them for their production. But as I'm speaking to you now, the farmers can no more rely on them. For those who have no choice, what it means is that they have to fetch those particular contaminated and poisoned water to water their crops. And the scientists have told us the effects of using such water on the crops and eventually on the soil and eventually on the crops. So we are actually facing a very generational crisis regarding our food security. And the saddest thing is that I read a report that says that apart from about 2 or 3 regions in Ghana, almost all other regions in the country, there's a form of illegal mining going on. Most of this are also affecting the water bodies that farmers use for their production.
So for your members, for your members, for those that refuse to sell their farmlands, I mean, what kind of danger are they in?
Yes, so yes, I can give you a scenario of a farmer who was approached by some of these galamseyers to sell his farm. The person refused. Now, what they do is that once the person refused, they try to convince his neighbors to sell their farm. So if the neighbors agree to their compensation, then they take over the neighboring farms around the farmer's farm. So eventually, the farmer is not able to move to his own farm because surrounding him, all those farms have been bought by the galamseyers.
Right.
So eventually, he has to sacrifice his farm for these people. And that is what is going on. And you see, some of the farmers too, because of their states where maybe they need quick money, they are sometimes when they are approached, they actually agree to sell their farms, 1 acre, 2 acre, sometimes 10,000, sometimes 20,000 to these galamseyers. And they promise them that after a period of time, after 5 years, 10 years, they will revert the farmlands back to them. So if a farmer is desperate and he needs money, he or she will just let it go. On the other hand, if the farmer doesn't want to sell, but his neighboring farmers are compromised, then he's in a fix. Because if you don't give your lands to them, the surrounding farms around you have all been bought. So you can't even move to your farm to go and do your farm activity.
Exactly.
So in this case, you've lost your farm and you've lost even revenue. So some are forced to sell the farm to them. And that's what is going on now.
You spoke about the irrigation facility. We have the video now. So we are putting it on our screens for our viewers. That is what you are watching right now. But Bismarck, final question so that I can go to Reverend Cyril Fayose. We are dealing with the issue of drought, and already the Ministry of Food and Agriculture has announced a set of measures to contain the situation. Your position is that if we don't deal with illegal mining, what we'll witness in the country in some few years to come will be worse than what the drought is bringing us.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because there are now a combination of factors that are contributing to ensuring that we have low production. As at now, we are dealing with drought. We are dealing with the effect of climate change. When now reliability on the weather is no more a surety. Unfortunately, we do not have enough irrigation schemes. So on that level, we are already at a loss. Now we are adding the destruction of farmlands that are supposed to use for farming activities. We are losing that. On top of that, the water bodies that we're also going to rely on to water the crops, we're also losing that particular water body. So there are 3 main issues here that is already going to deepen the current crisis that we have. So that's the point you're making, that if nothing drastic is done, because when it comes to irrigation, I don't foresee us in the next 5 or 10 years putting up any better irrigation facilities from the approach of government. I don't see that. The farmlands, if you don't do anything drastic, in the next few years, I'm sure you will lose more than half of our farmlands to galamsey.
Right.
Climate change is real, and the reliance on rainfall is also low. So it means that as a nation, we can't rely on rainfall for agriculture, and this is the main driver of agriculture. So with these 3 factors that we are having, and currently look at what we're experiencing now, if there's nothing drastic done, my brother, in the next few years, we are not only going to have low production of food, but we are going to rely on neighbors to supply the basic food that we have in the country. And that's going to affect the pricing of the food. And apart from the pricing that I'm talking about, I'm talking about the quality of the food we are consuming.
I get you.
The fact that the food we are consuming will be contaminated, will be filled with poisonous substances. And the fact that even the soils that we are supposed to plant on, they will not be available, or do not be conducive for planting. That's a major disaster awaiting us if we don't take a drastic action against it. So that's why we are saying that currently there seems to be mining, small-scale mining all over the place, some in the name of community mining, but they have metamorphosed and are destroying the environment. So we are saying that as of now, we don't even have time to have a discussion. Let's put a complete ban on all forms of small-scale mining. Let's have a national consensus. Let us wait till we at least restore our farmlands and we're able to farm on them. Then we can agree that we have a clear plan as a nation on the way forward on mining, and then we take a step. If not, I'm afraid our food security will be in jeopardy.
Thank you so much for your time for spending with us this afternoon. Bismarck Note is with the Peasant Farmers Association. Let me go back to Reverend Cyril Fire. So, Reverend, you've heard the position of the peasant farmers. Now, yesterday, or this morning, UTAG, that's the Universities Association of Ghana, issued a statement saying that they will embark on an indefinite strike at the end of this month if the government does not impose a ban on illegal mining. The innocent students will be the ones to suffer if this threat of strike is allowed to stand as announced by UTAG. Now, we are in an election season. So therefore, people are saying that we are not hearing from, for example, the president, the flag bearer of the MPP, the flag bearer of the NDC, make definite statement on illegal mining and calling for it outright ban now because they are afraid of losing votes from the mining areas. How do we go around this? And if you can unmute for me, Reverend.
Thank you very much. I think we must put all the pressure that we can muster on the government and our flag bearers to commit to a ban on small-scale illegal mining, Galamsey, because that is the only solution to this very huge problem that we are all encountering. I say that because even though I have mentioned livelihoods in my previous submission, I just want to say that even before we come back to any form of mining, let us first put a ban on it. Let us clear the table. Let us start all over again and see how best to proceed. But without a ban, I don't think this problem can be solved in any other way. So let's find every means possible to get our leaders to commit to a ban. Then we can proceed.
The TUC plus other interest group, they hope to hold a news conference tomorrow to present a united front. I don't know whether the council is part of this upcoming news conference tomorrow.
Yes, we have been invited, so we'll be there tomorrow.
Beyond that, are you hoping to have a sit down with the president, for example, or the Council of State to see how we can weave our way around this?
Our position remains the same, that there should be a total ban. We have been to the presidency once, and we are consulting right now. The church leaders are consulting, and we'll come up with another position as to how to proceed and what to tax all our members, all the members of the member churches of the Christian Council of Ghana to do. So we'll release a statement to that effect very soon.
All right. I appreciate your time so much, Reverend Cyril Fayose, Secretary, General Secretary of the Christian Council of Ghana. Edwin is still here with me. Edwin, so are you hoping to tour all illegal mining sites or mining regions in the country with this your advocacy? Edwin, if you can hear me, kindly unmute so that I can hear you loud. All right, so we don't have Edwin now. Let me go back to Dr. Tony Orbin. So, Doctor, now, over the weekend, I tuned into Newsfire here on Joy News, and I heard one of the panelists say that now he's afraid to eat his favorite, wayside chop bar, usually on his way from Accra to Kumasi, because of the exposure to food from these mining areas. Because you've served as Chief Executive of Minerals Commission, you know the implications of having some of these, heavy metals in our soil. Would you also recommend same that we should be careful what we eat and drink from mining exposed areas?
Well, I mean, what we see is what we see. The water that we see is highly contaminated, and if for nothing at all, it has become very turbid. It is unnatural that we use such waters for our daily chores or for things that we do to eat. So, and of course, some studies have indicated high levels of contaminants in some of the water bodies and even in some of the soils. So I sympathize with those who are careful, and even myself, I'm careful eating stuff from areas very close to the illegal mining site. I think that we need a collective approach to this. We need a collective approach. And the one failure that I always cry about in me is that just before the 2016 election, we were planning a document for every party to sign that they were not going to campaign about illegal mining and say that we will let you do it, because that has been the past approach, that we will let you do it when you come to power, and that actually strengthens them. I know that this is a livelihood thing. People want job, and that is why some of them take to this risky type of job. But what they do and get money for themselves should not impact negatively on the common good. You see, when you mine and you make money for yourself and your family. But someone who is not mining also takes the brunt of that activity. It is for this reason that I think we must collectively, and government should not be ashamed to say that we have not done well, we have failed. Everybody come on board, let's do it. It is not about now, you know, and even if a drastic decision is taken, if an announcement is made that any government official who has a mining license or mineral rights in the forest, please put it down, we are taking it out. All who are involved in illegal mining, either by proxy or directly, you are going to face the law. And you do that to one or two of your people, you see that the ordinary Ghanaian who is working for somebody, most people who are working at the mine site are workers for some people who are not even there at the mine site. They will think and then do well. I know that President Mahama has said he's going to make a total ban on water bodies. That one is going to be patrolled every day. So I think that's a major step in the event of his coming to power, inshallah. So that's what I can say under the circumstances.
Thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Dr. Tony Oben is a former Chief Executive Officer of the Minerals Commission. And remember that tomorrow, some interest groups led by the Trade Union Congress will hold a news conference to present a united front and make a call on government. The media coalition against illegal mining also do same tomorrow. So tomorrow there will be a lot of activity around the issue of illegal mining. We'll take a short break now. When we come back, why are too many Ghanaians taking their own lives? Latest figures show suicide cases almost doubled in the first quarter of this year compared to the same period last year. We'll hear from the experts on what is accounted for the disturbing trend when we return here on The Pulse. Welcome back. This is The Pulse here on Joy News. Now, tell me what your own solution will be as we fight this issue of illegal mining. Tell us, I'm interested in what your own solution is so that we can put it across as we await that news conference tomorrow by organized labor, by all interest groups to force government to act. But let's talk about something that is happening now. The question is, why are too many Ghanaians taking their own lives? Latest figures show suicide cases in Ghana have almost doubled in the first quarter of this year compared to the same period last year. The Mental Health Authority says it is concerned about the situation and has been creating the awareness as part of activities marking Suicide Prevention Day. Now, joining us now is Dr. Joseph Ndakon, Acting Head of Communication, Mental Health Authority. Before we start the conversation, though, here's the data released this morning. So, globally, 720,000 people die due to suicide. They take their own lives. And globally, 720,000 people die, due to suicide every year. That's according to the World Health Organization. And today is World Suicide Prevention Day. And globally, leading cause of death between the ages of 15 and 29 olds can be traced to suicide. So that is the third leading cause of death between the age bracket of 15 and 29, every year. Suicide accounts for a third of such around the world. And 73% global suicide occur in low and middle income countries, including Ghana. 73%, that's quite high if you ask me. And again, this is coming from the World Health Organization. 73% global suicide occur in low and middle income countries. And so the situation in Ghana, as at the end of 2023, 48 people took their own lives across the country, 2023. Now, out of the 43 that died, actually 594 people attempted to die. And out of the 594, 48 died, through suicide. They took their own lives. But 594 people attempted to take their own lives in 2023. And let's talk about 2024. So we spoke about 2023, 48 people died. The number has, almost doubled to 81 as at the end of June 2024. So 6 more months of work to be done and the report done. And this is out of 543 attempts. So those who attempted, the number may have come down, but those that died from suicide rose from 48 in 2003 to 81 in 2004. And this is from the Ghana Mental Health Authority report of suicide in Ghana as we mark the day. So this is quite disturbing, but the question is, what is accounting for this? Dr. Josephine Darkom is the acting head of communications, Mental Health Authority, and she joins me via Zoom. Doctor, good afternoon, welcome to the poll. So the number we are seeing is quite disturbing, and I guess you can say same.
Yes, good afternoon. Yes, it's very, very disturbing, actually. As you rightly said, the numbers have gone up. And actually, the figures that you quoted for 2020 were recorded for, I think, the entire year. So if we look at it, 2024, just half of the year, and we are already way above those numbers. So it is quite alarming. And as you asked, there are a number of factors that contribute to this increase. So there are risk factors for suicidal behavior. And these risk factors are varied. So they include risk factors that have to do with the person themselves. So if somebody has had a previous attempt at taking their own life, then we say that they have an increased risk of attempting again. And if somebody also has a mental illness, for example, depression, severe depression, they may have some suicidal ideas and may lead to an attempt or even death by suicide. Other factors that surround us, financial issues. I know these issues in our country nowadays, and as you rightly said, in low middle income countries, the rates are highest compared to the other parts in this world. So economic issues, which we are in, increase in stress, so job issues, people losing their jobs, all tying down to the economic issues. Substance use is also one of them. And then gambling, that's another big one we hear of nowadays.
Gambling?
Yes. So people end up with so much debt, they end up in debt. And this brings up some of these, increases the risk of suicidal behavior. So we have people who are contemplating or thinking about suicide because of the situation they find themselves in right now. And most of the time, these people may even act on impulse and then think about it and within a very short time go ahead to attempt suicide. So the factors are varied from individual factors, relationship factors, people are having challenges in relationships, not just...
In fact, I was coming to that to ask whether relationship gone bad could also be a factor and how pronounced it is.
Yes. So relationship risk factors are also there. So people who are going through strain in their relationships, people who have lost their loved ones, people who are going through all forms of abuse, all these things can be risk factors that may lead to suicidal behaviors.
And then I'm also looking at the age brackets for people who are so vulnerable and have attempted or have died from suicide, and mostly, I mean, the young generation.
Yes, and that is why it is a very, very serious issue. Because if you look at the age bracket, 15 to 29, these are people that are in their prime. These are people that we expect to be getting out of school, getting onto the job market, and bringing new energy into our institution. And these are the people, unfortunately, that if we don't act and act fast enough, we may. So it is very, very a very serious issue. And I have had people say that, oh, someone that's 15 years, what exactly are they worried about?
Exactly.
And why are they going on to think about suicide to the point of attempting or even dying by suicide? But we have to note that what is worrying to somebody may not be worrying to another person. And these adolescents and teenagers also do have challenges that they go through. That is a critical period in their development. And in this world, as it is now, there are a lot of issues. There are things on social media. People are trying to live up to what is out there or what is being portrayed as the norm now. And all these things are leading to mental stress and affecting the mental well-being of individuals. And these are some of the things that are piling up and leading to some of these attempts.
And again, the data shows that men are at higher risk of committing suicide. Why is it so?
All right. So we first of all, we try to refrain from saying committing because, again, successfully we have decriminalized suicide. And,
absolutely.
Yes, it isn't a crime. So people suffer suicide. People have suicidal ideas. And men have been shown by research to have more deaths by suicide. So it is shown that men usually go for more lethal ways of attempting suicide. And that leads them to die by suicide when they attempt compared to females. Yes.
So for those, maybe some people commit suicide and they leave notes behind to, explain the reason why they took such action. In terms of ranking, will you say that it is hardship in the society or stress or relationship? In terms of ranking, that probably is a leading cause.
So, I mean, currently there is a lot of stress. And I say stress in all forms. So stress, each individual is going through several kinds of stress. Stress is coming from home, stress from the relationship, stress from work, the economic stress, and all these things are adding up, you see. So it's not usually just one thing.
Right.
The things add up, and then eventually somebody may tip over the edge.
And is there a reason why the Greater Accra Eastern are the regions leading in this, rather disturbing development?
Well, if you look at our setup, the way the country is now, or has been for a while, Greater Accra region houses almost everybody. Everybody is coming to the capital. And the population is increasing, stress is increasing. People are moving here with the hopes of getting jobs and finding greener pastures and all that. And it is not that easy to achieve that. So that may be contributing to the factors. There's a lot of stress, even moving from work home, sometimes the traffic situation, right. All things lead to stress. And then the mental health of people are being affected, and then eventually the numbers of suicide and attempted suicide are going up.
But as a country, what really have we done for people in such situation? I mean, if you have over 500 people, you know, they attempted within the period under review, question is, what have we done to sort of, you know, help them in a way?
Yes, so I think one of our greatest achievements has been the decriminalization of suicide. And then the conversation is ongoing. So just as we are having now, the Mental Health Authority earlier today had a forum with some of our security persons. When we are educating people on suicide, we are talking about it. We are trying to change the narrative, which is the theme we are going with for this year, changing the narrative about suicide. We want everyone to move away from suicide being something that is forbidden and a taboo to talk about, to something that we are more open and ready to listen to people who are going through such challenges. We want to get to a point where people will not just say, oh no, don't say that, don't talk about that, don't let the devil use you, you know, and things like that. When somebody opens up to say how they are feeling or what they are thinking about when it comes to issues of suicide. But we want to get to a society where everybody is open, and when somebody gives out that cry for help, are ready to hold that person's hand and lead them to the right places for them to get the needed help.
My other question also relates to this. I mean, preventing it from happening. I know, for example, in the United States of America, in the United Kingdom, for example, the schools sent out questionnaire to parents and students at a certain age. And then it is to elicit information as to whether such students are stressed and may contemplate suicide and what help they can offer them. I don't think we do such things in Ghana.
Well, of course, I haven't really heard of such a nationwide thing, but we do go around. So the Mental Health Authority does a lot of education. We do engage a lot of schools right down from primary all the way up into our universities. This may not be on the nationwide scale, just as you said was done in the US, but we are making strides. And we are glad that the media is also catching on and this information is getting out there. It is something that we can't do alone as an authority. Right. We need everyone to come on board. So as we are going into the schools, we are going into the churches, coming onto the media platforms to advocate, we hope that everybody will get on board and be ambassadors. And then we would be able to reach more people and get into the areas where we can't physically be. But we know that esteemed media houses like yours do reach a large number of people. And so through our social media campaigns, through our media advocacy, hopefully we would eventually get there.
Even though I know that Parliament took a position on the suicide, I know for sure that the President has yet to sign on the private members bill. I don't know what your reaction will be that the President has yet to sign this into law.
Well, we are still on our advocacy train, and I mean, yes, though it is yet to be signed, I believe that we have come thus far. So a lot of work has been done and it's still going on. As I said, there are a lot of people that are pushing and advocating for mental health, because this is something that is important to every single human being,
right,
irrespective of who you are, your gender, your age, and all that. So, I mean, we do acknowledge that some things take time, and more so in a country like ours, things may tarry, but eventually, I believe that we would get there and we would achieve the strides that we are looking to achieve.
And the perfect, obviously, especially would have been as we celebrate this day, we will have a better story to tell regarding the law finally giving presidential assent. But before you go, Dr. Josephine Darko, your final words to our viewers as we observe this day, with the hope that maybe by the end of the year, when we do the counting, we'll have zero suicide.
Yes, please. So I would like to entreat that we all get on board. Let us take our time to talk to each other, listen to each other, and then when we hear someone making comments about being hopeless, feeling worthless, or having thoughts of suicide, or somebody writing about that, or always saying, I wish I wouldn't wake up, we don't lightly, but we hold this person's hand, and then we get them to seek the help that they need. The Mental Health Authority has a helpline which is toll-free and it's open. So everybody can reach us on this line.
And are you able to tell us the number, if you have it offhand?
Yes, please. So it's 0800 678 678. So it's quite easy to remember, and it's toll-free. So 0800 678 678. And then you will definitely get a professional to talk to, and then we will get the needed help to you where necessary.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Josephine Darko, with the Mental Health Authority. She's in charge of communication. Now, away from that, 1 month after being recognized for its impact in rural livelihood empowerment, a 2024 Joy News Impact Awardee, Dr. Kwame Sakwa Edu, has brought bicycles with its cash prize for 10 school children in Donko Krom in the Eastern region. He has also trained over 100 more locals in honey making to support their livelihood. Joy News, Caleb Mensah was with Honeyman during the presentation and training session and came to with this report.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Joy News Impact Maker, Livelihood Empowerment, Dr. Kwame Sakwa Edu, aka the Honeyman. The Honeyman. Ladies and gentlemen, the Honeyman.
We are here in Donko Krom, the district capital for Kwewu Afram Plains district. Bees for Development Ghana has been working in communities in this area for the past years, supporting them to keep bees to improve their lives. Before, they will hunt for honey in the Dija National Park. They got arrested, they got jailed. So we've been supporting them to keep bees outside and making good livelihoods without these problems. We have come this week to support them further. We've selected 6 basic schools. We will establish bus clubs, and to start we will train 2 teachers from each of the schools and train them to handle these children, to further encourage the children to learn about bees and also to keep the environment intact.
I personally believe that this particular training is important and it's going to go a long way to help me and then the children back at school who join the bus club. And I know after everything I'll be well equipped to establish my own hive, and this hive will not only help the environment and then biodiversity, but it's also going to generate a lot of income for me because there's been a whole lot of wonderful testimonies and then personal experience shared in there about people making cash. There is one man in Apesika who has benefited from an amount of 15,000 Ghana cedis, and I believe that it will go a long way to help me financially and also assist the little ones throughout the education process to buy petty stationery items, books, pencils, and other stuffs. So thank you very much, Bees for Development Ghana, for such a wonderful opportunity.
Bees for Development Ghana this year was nominated as part of the Joy News Impact Makers Award. And we are here this week to further the recognition given to us and to donate 10 bicycles. From the award money, we have secured 10 bicycles to donate to children who walk long distances to school. Some walk as much as 6 kilometers to go to school. And this time round, we are impacting the communities by donating these bicycles to their children.
These bicycles will help us not to walk a long distance to our school. God bless Bees for Development Ghana for helping us. At least we won't walk a long distance to our school. We will use our bicycles.
Farmers who are now beekeepers are harvesting and selling honey to the processing center in Donko Chrome and making good money. A family in Bonaso, Mahmoud and his wife have over 10 beehives, and this year alone they sold over 15,000 cedis worth of honey to the processing center in Donko Chrome. It is impacting greatly all these people in these deprived communities.
Kurom ha obia nye ewo ne bi bawo bemawo akwalawo enyina ye wadaka ne bi a etime bua ye kankan ne mi ame kasayi ebua me kwan bebre so ban so mbetre ne ya ma so wo no mu nye dintino me de sikai bi ehwe me mba school me de bi sabe ebia duane asem kura metime eto enam sa wo nye nti ema member yi bifra ko do na training ene teacher training college na first no ka emba ya do yintimi fa yehwe nti enam sa djuma we nti no sese dia ma hu se e ya djuma pa.
Bees for Development Ghana has embarked on an aggressive project to restore the forests of Afram Plains. We are stopping honey hunting. People are encouraged to avoid charcoal burning and production. People have been engaged to stop logging and cutting down of trees. This has been our work in the communities. So bushfires are stopped. They can control bushfires and grow trees, all in an attempt to restore the forests of Afram Plains. Bees for Development Ghana is so grateful to Joy News Impact Makers Award for telling our story to the world. We are now very accepted by the community members. They are producing honey, and we have sorted out the marketing issues by establishing the Honey and Beeswax Trade Center in Donko Chrome, and they are selling and improving their livelihood.
And that's clearly an impact there. Now we are wrapping up. Before we go, there's a development from the Dr. Muhammad Bawumia's campaign on illegal mining. And of course, this is a letter we just intercepted. Appointment as campaign coordinator for mining communities. And the letter is addressed to the Honorable George Mreku Duka. He's currently the Deputy Lands and Natural Resources Minister. And in this capacity, the responsibility assigned him include coordination of campaign activities. And they say that he will organize and lead all campaign activities directed at miners and mining communities across the country. And this will involve managing teams, coordination, development of strategic messaging, and then also electoral success in mining constituencies. And they say that your effort should aim to secure a significant number of popular votes and parliamentary seats in constituency with a strong mining presence. Ensuring that the flag bearer's message resonates well within these communities is key to our electoral success. And the trust is that with his expertise and leadership, the party will significantly contribute to the party's collective effort to win the support of mining constituencies nationwide. And this is signed by Chairman Fred Owari, Vice Campaign Chairman of Bawumia for President campaign, and addressed to the Deputy Lands and Natural Resources Minister, George Mreku Duka. Now, two things we're looking forward to tomorrow. The Electoral Commission wanted to hold a news conference. They cancelled at the last minute. They said they will do so tomorrow. And that news conference, they want to use it to react to the NDC's call for a nationwide demonstration against the EC refusal to undertake forensic audit of the voters register. Tomorrow also, we've got interest group also hold a news conference on illegal mining. But if you could go on majoronline.com, there are so many stories there that you can have for yourself. And so that's Major Online for you. It's been exciting as always having you here on the Pulse. Tomorrow same time, we will be here. Until then, whatever you are up to in the hours ahead, I hope it's profitable. My name is Elton Roby. LTS is up next on Joining. See you tomorrow, same time.